Hi everyone, this week for our theory video blog I chose andragogy, or the adult learning theory. I personally chose this one because I work in higher education and found that it was the most relatable for me. According to Janet Finley in her YouTube video, this is the methods or techniques used to teach adult learners. It was popularized by Malcolm Knowles in 1980, and at that time he proposed 6 assumptions on how to effectively teach adult learners. Those 6 are the need to know. Number 1, adult learners want to know why they are learning this, how it's going to pay off for them to learn this material, what it'll mean if they don't learn it. So they're very interested in the why. They have a self-concept. Adult learners identify as being responsible for their learning and their own decisions within the classroom. They take on an ownership and a self-direction compared to pedagogy, where the students are directed usually by the instructor or the classroom lead. Number 3 is experience. Adult learners have a more diverse experiential background or learning experiences when compared to children. Adults tend to be able to draw more fully on these experiences. However, this can be a con to this learning theory. Sometimes it requires an instructor to help a student unlearn a particular content or something in their background. For example, on our campus, as I'm sure you all can hear from my dialect, I am from Southwest Virginia and we have an Appalachian dialect, and I see this very common on our campus. Our adult learners have to unlearn their Appalachian grammar to be successful in college English courses. Number 4 is readiness to learn. Adult learners need their learning experiences to be timely and relevant. They seem to have a 2-dimensional approach to this specific assumption, is that you can evaluate how much an adult learner needs in direction, how much assistance they need from you as an educator or as a teacher, and how much support and encouragement they need from others, whether that's their peers, their family, or the instructor. So they need it to be relevant. We see a lot of adult learners that are not coming to our school or our institution for a general studies diploma or anything like that. They very commonly are specifically interested or here for a reason, whether that's continuing their education or receiving continuing education credits for their specific profession types of learning like that. Number 5 is orientation to learning. Adult learning must be life-centered. It needs to focus on tasks and problems rather than subjects. And it needs to be contextualized versus subject-based. And experiential learning is most effective based on this theory. And number 6 is motivation to learn. Adult learners typically have an intrinsic learning value versus an extrinsic like children have. They're there because of self-satisfaction, enjoyment, value. They have a end goal in mind for their learning, as I feel like we all do, because most of us are adult learners and we're here for a purpose. Useful concepts are geared towards the effective teaching of adult learners. This theory can be used in consideration with developing online learning opportunities that meet that specific need of the adult learner versus like a general education course or something like that. Some cons that were outlined in the video are that critics argue this theory does not apply equally to all adult learners' backgrounds and experience. I feel like this can be a con of most learning theories, though, and that this model could be applied to any age to design a facilitatory teaching practice. When applying this to distance education, Halpern and Tucker state that this adult learning theory manifests from a constructivist learning theory, recognizing learning as both a social and reflective process. Educators facilitate the learning through experiential strategies, such as creating a problem for their learners to work through. I personally feel that this is a good theory for distance education because the instruction can be made relevant through the assignments. They can be problem-based to encourage critical thinking, and self-paced for an adult learner's needs. Also, online courses can be designed in such a way to acknowledge your prior work and life experience. I feel like we all are experiencing this exact statement in our current course. And it gives an opportunity for, online learning gives an opportunity for the student to be self-directed and motivated inside that learning environment. At our institution, I am part of distance education, and when we see a student be unsuccessful in a course, an online course, it is typically because they lacked that self-motivation or self-direction. They were not able to stay up to date and on task, and it was detrimental to their success. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great week.